Hello everyone, I'm Brett Glasgow,
And I'm Billy Haviland.
and I would like all of you to take a minute and take a product that's near you, anywhere around you, and take a look at where it's from. That's right, pick it up and take a look at where it's from. It's more than likely not made in the USA, which is becoming a much larger part of an overarching theme of globalization. Now, globalization, as put by political sociologist Charles Tilly, is the increased interaction amongst nations. Now, with that being said, these interactions can be for the good or for the bad, but either way, they can cause conflict amongst nations. It causes increased interaction between corporations all across the world, as well as the free flow of currencies between nations. Regardless of if these interactions are good or bad, they affect each and every one of us every single day. As large as these topics seem, they can affect you when you're grocery shopping, they can affect you when you're just trying to get money for a vacation. They can affect you in a lot of different ways, and we're going to go into a couple of them now.
So coming into play are these multinational corporations like Brett just mentioned in his part. What these multinational corporations have found out is that by moving their manufacturing and other processes overseas, they are able to lower their costs, and they do this by lower labor overseas. And they see the incentives in this lower labor, and it creates a competitive advantage with other countries and their trade. And what happens is that competitive advantage turns into a power struggle, and that leads to governments imposing tariffs on other nations and their products. So today, as we see conflicts between countries, we see tariffs being imposed on certain countries, like U.S. imposing tariffs on Russian products, and the other way around with our products. And in a way that puts a strain on trade and could be a sign of moving away from globalization. Now, we also see this in the form of conflict in the form of trade agreements with NAFTA, and with Trump trying to renegotiate this deal. In a way, we're becoming a little bit more isolationist rather than more globalized.
Also with globalization comes the invention of the foreign exchange market. This market was solely made so that currencies in one area would be equal to the currencies in another area, because not all currencies are worth the same amount. Now, this affects more people every day than people realize. Anytime you go on a vacation, you're going to need foreign currency from the country you'll be visiting. And in order to get the right amount back, you need to abide by the foreign exchange market. This foreign exchange market also allows for a lot of big companies that you buy products from to participate in a lot of different type of financial games, almost. It's a game of risks, which is basically called arbitrage, and in this game, you basically borrow money for a very low amount and you invest it somewhere else where it will raise in the amount that it's worth quicker, and you take it out and pay it back later at a profit. Now, this doesn't necessarily affect you individually, but when companies see these types of profits, it allows them to have some sort of competitive advantage and maybe even lower the cost of a lot of their products that you buy.
So in my opinion, I believe that globalization is an essential part of our world today, and I believe that no one country is 100% self-sufficient, or it's not even possible to be. We really do rely on all countries around the world to help us out.
I agree. I feel like globalization is really good for the planet, but I also do feel as though it's something that needs to be regulated. You know, early on in globalization, when there wasn't regulation in terms of how they were, treating a lot of labor around the world, things like that need to be kept under control. But I think as a whole, globalization could only lead us in a better direction.